Our Raise and Hail Commanders insider, Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube, also CBS 6's Commanders insider, fresh off of a wonderful trip to Spain where, the defense looked a little bit better, but we don't have to talk too much about what happened on the field. I imagine Spain was beautiful and an experience in Madrid that you won't forget.
Yeah. It was, listen, let's just
flying's fun right now.
Yeah, the elephant in the room. A couple people know, but Janine, myself, I'm a better half. Janine Samuels from CBS 6. She, I was excited because this was the second ever road trip she's ever taken with me over the years. And last year, the first was the NFC Championship game.
Pretty good one.
Yeah. So this year we go to Madrid, and we didn't get our luggage. Our luggage, I guess it made it, but it didn't come to our hotel. And we left and got back yesterday, and we still didn't have our luggage. They supposedly said it's in the basement of the airport in Madrid. But yeah, I'm not going to mention airlines, but let's just say that, they're fronting the bill for it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough way to start and end it. But
yeah.
Everything in the middle, was it fun over there in Madrid?
Yeah. I mean, we had a great time. We experienced a lot of different things. We visited and toured. We did the whole nine, and went to the residential palace and all that stuff. And yeah, so got a lot of great memories from it. So that's where we're looking at it. And more importantly, we made it safely. We got home safely. But as far as the game, like all the way from the practices and then on the game, being on the field again, because over here things have changed in NFL media. So a lot of us, I'm able to get on the field, but during pregame, most of us can't now. That's just the way the league has set it up. And so, the league took care of me. I was on the field. I probably didn't have to come off the field even during the game.
Yeah.
It was wild. But yeah, from that standpoint, it was awesome. But I will say this, the PR for the league that was there, Skylar and those folks, they were absolutely phenomenal. I got to shout them out again. And when I say phenomenal, that may have been the best setup I've ever experienced. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So shout out to the league. They got it right.
And those international games, I saw it in Ireland too. They've really kind of let the media really promote it in a way, especially over here for the States, that they don't, probably because they don't have to grow the game here, but they're wanting to grow the game over there. Like the Ireland game, you just saw all like these influencers and media people. Bill Murray was on the sideline, the Kelsey brother, or I guess just Jason, because Travis is still playing until he retires. But it is just so interesting how they keep the media so involved for these international games. Seems like a great time.
You know what was cool was, and this is the first time that, people know who you are, and I understand that, I get it, and I get it a lot. But this was different because anywhere we went, there were Commander fans that would come over to Janine and me and be like, Lake, Janine, I'm big fans. Can I get a picture? And I thought it was cool. So right before kickoff, myself and JP Finley, David Harrison was with us as well from Sports Illustrated. So the three of us, we were the last ones on the field, literally. And we were like, okay, let's, do we want to go up to the press box or do we want to stay down here? And I'm like, let's just go on up to the press box before someone says, why are we here?
Who are you? Why are you down here?
So when we're walking off the field, we had to walk through the back end zone, and fans were yelling like, Lake, JP. And so we stopped, and they were throwing their phones to us to like turn around and take selfies and then toss their phones back into the crowd.
That's a lot of trust in a phone.
So I have it. I haven't put it out yet, but I'm going to. I have a video of Debo on the field. And I'm like, closer than you are and I right now. And he's throwing football back into the crowd, and the crowd would catch it and throw it back to him. I'm right there with them, literally, JP and myself. Well, that's what fans were doing with their phones. It was wild, man. So yeah, I hope those fans are posting those videos because I'm going to repost them when I see it. It was just a cool experience, but it was just nice to be seen and nice to know that, so many people throughout the week would come up to us that traveled over that were telling us, they appreciate the job that we do. And we're, some of their favorite media people, a couple people from Richmond ran into her here. And they were like, I thought that was you, Janine. So it was pretty cool. It was
That's
a nice
awesome.
experience. It was.
That's
very
awesome.
humbling.
What would you say the split was between Spaniards and Americans who made the trip over?
I mean, naturally, that's a stadium that I'm sure if you are a Real Madrid season ticket holder or something, you had access to this game. Make no mistake about it. I would say probably 70-30 in the building with Spaniards.
Yeah.
But the 30 was loud, and I can say this. There were a lot of Dolphin fans because naturally that's their team. That's their adopted team. And a lot of Dolphins fans did make the trip, and you have to understand the synergy with, Spanish-speaking Dolphins fans coming from South Florida. They could speak the natural language over there, so they fit right in. However, the Commanders fans that came were everywhere, and they were loud and boisterous. I did go to one rally, and pretty cool too. Janine and me show up, and then the next thing you know, we're up on the stage, and they're having her MC part of it. Just like she was like, I didn't plan for that, but it was cool. It was really cool. Again, after that was over, people were still in the parking lot of this restaurant. I mean, hundreds, not a couple, hundreds.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I just thought, obviously Jaden didn't go, and I'm sure a lot of people bought those tickets to see Jaden. And I know in Spain, when everywhere you went, you saw Jaden staying everywhere, but he wasn't there.
They
so I'm
had
sure
prepped all that stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that was the letdown part. But I mean, look, your first ever game over there, first ever NFL game in Spain, it goes to overtime, and the last game that was international for Washington was a tie. I'm not sure if you remember that in London. Dustin Hopkins missed the chance to win the game in overtime, and it ended up being a tie. But it was 2 straight overtime games for Washington when they traveled overseas.
That's a pretty good little resume they're putting together over there for and Europeans are
they don't
used
have a
to
win
ties.
Yet. They're 0-1.
1-1.
Yeah, that's not good.
But the tie was accepted by the Europeans. They understand how ties work. Here in America, we're still trying to figure that out. With the game, Matt Gay misses 2 kicks. One of them was to win it. He gets cut. I think was it yesterday? All my days are blending together.
Yeah.
He gets cut. Now they're bringing up Jake Moody. Were you surprised by Gay eventually getting cut? Because he's kind of had an up and down season, especially from long range.
Well, I never try to call for people's livelihood to be taken from them, but he probably should have been out weeks ago.
I know there was a lot.
I was calling for that in preseason.
I was going to say
the New England game.
There was a lot of calls for it in the preseason because he struggled in the preseason too, but Dan Quinn's loyalty kind of comes through. You saw with Joe Witt Jr. He makes a change, and whoa, crazy! They held an opponent to 16
it
points.
Looks like a whole different outfit. Yeah, I mean, the irony with Jake Moody is last thing people remember about him is being punched by Debo on the sidelines, and now they're going to be back here together in Washington. I think again for Matt Gay, the misses that he's had have been critical misses. It's not just, a drive stall because he missed a field goal. You go back to the Green Bay game on that Thursday night, he missed a kick before halftime that could have really changed the momentum of that game. So his kicks have been really like deflating kicks. And obviously when you miss a game winner, and not only did he miss that, when he missed it, I was like, you do understand Miami's going to get the ball where you missed it. And they're close to midfield now. All they need to get is a first down. They could have won the game. Didn't happen that way. But yeah, for them to release him after the game in the locker room. No, I can tell you he was teary-eyed and just flat out crying, and he did that before. So you feel bad for the guy because you knew those tears weren't just because the kick was missed. I think he knew. And there were fans that were saying he shouldn't even be allowed to fly back on the same flight. Give him something else to reroute him to Barcelona or something. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah. And you got to love fans. Maybe give them a tryout with old Barcelona down there or something. But
that's the other thing, too. You people don't understand that the fans over there really are invested and interested in seeing how kickers do because that's the closest thing they see to soccer. So when he came out to kick those field goals, I could, where I was in the press box, their press box, by the way, was in the stadium.
Is it open air?
It's open air. It's like I could reach over and grab a fan because there were some fans underneath us. Like that's how close you are.
Soccer stadiums are so different.
It was so different. But you could hear the fans like during the game. Yeah, they were cheering, but they were more dancing when the music was played and stuff. But when it was time to kick field goals or extra points or kickoffs, they would really get into it. So for him to miss, it was like, ugh, yeah, and then Miami's didn't. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, you're right. A lot of Gay's kicks this season have been momentum changers because
backbreakers.
And not to play. I both at the same time hate the what if game, but also love playing the what if game.
Yeah.
Where like, imagine this season if Gay hits that one field goal against the Packers. Who knows how the second half plays out? Who knows where they are now? And you lose the Bears game by 1 point. I think he had a missed field goal in that game.
Absolutely.
What if they win that game and they don't then go on this losing streak? But of course, what ifs don't count for anything. But it's always a fun game to be like, I wonder how it plays out. We did see Dan Quinn take over play calling duties on the defensive side.
Yep.
Obligatory question on how you saw it play out, because from the American side of things, when we're watching on TV with my cup of coffee, defense looked a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it just, I don't want to use the word simplified because I mean, there still were some blown coverages at times, but they were always around the ball. I mean, did they get the backs down when there was several times that H should have been taken down well into the backfield. One, we ran to the perimeter, and I'm like, okay, he's down, and he turns up, and three guys are whiffing at him. But overall, Mikey did have an interception that he should have had that he dropped, but they were in position, and we haven't seen them in position over the past several weeks. It was just wide open receivers everywhere. So to hold the Dolphins' offense to basically under 200 yards, you can see that the steps were made for them to play better. And is that an indictment on Joe Witt or what? I mean, it looked like a totally different defense.
I always subscribe to the KISS method, and I think I've talked about it with you before. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, just sometimes the easiest way forward is just to have the most simple plan laid out in front of you.
I totally agree.
Especially when your defense is struggling. Let's just go back to the basics, guys. If they beat us while we're in cover 2 and we're playing man, they're better than us. But if they beat us because we don't know where to be, then it feels like we're beating ourselves. And not to sound all coach speak, but like, you don't want to beat yourself, and that's why they always preach that whenever you ask questions like that. That's why coach speak is a thing.
Exactly. And there wasn't a whole lot of single coverage in this game too, which I think helped in some ways, because you didn't have guys getting, picked off and crossing routes and things like that.
Which is a welcome sight to see after JSN, Amon-Ra. I mean, and then Jalen Waddle's a good wide receiver.
He's a very good wide receiver.
They kind of kept him quiet.
They did. They kind of put a lid on him. So you have to give credit where credit is due. The Dolphins won the game, but I do think Washington did show signs of improvement. But they still have to be able to bring backs down. They still have to be able to make their tackles. And more importantly, when the ball's in the air and it's thrown up, which Tua threw several up, they couldn't come away with anything. And those are the things that your defense needs to win, to be able to have you win, especially, when your quarterback probably, to me, Marcus Mariota, I think played his worst game as a Commander.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. And Marcus has kind of gotten progressively worse as every game he has started goes on. Yeah. And it leads me to question, because it's something you hear a lot around the Commanders fandom. Should Jaden come back? Will Jaden come back? Yeah. Do you think Jaden will and should? Kind of a two-part question there for you.
Yeah, I think both of them are yes. And, a couple weeks ago, right after the elbow injury, I was like, you know what? They need to shut this guy down. But then when you hear there's no damage whatsoever and it's just a sore elbow, he could be back like immediately.
That's insane.
Yeah, so then I'm thinking to myself, well, they don't have anything to play for this year. The season's over. But the season's not over. It's over from the chance of making the playoffs, but you still have other things that you can be playing for. And one of them's called momentum going into next year. Yeah. And you also need to play your core players now to see what you have collectively, to see which young guys can fit in, which guys are worth keeping, salvaging, or who needs to be let go. So I think with Jaden coming back, I don't think he's coming back to this unit. I think he's coming back, and Terry's going to come back with him, and Noah Brown's going to come back, oh, by the way. So this might be the first time when we come back from the bye that we actually see the team, offensively at least, that we were expecting to see. Will Harris should be back on defense. So they're going to get some pieces here to make some things interesting. And it's okay to play spoiler. I say this, you haven't played the Eagles yet. You still have to play the Cowboys, you still have to play the Giants. So you still can kind of serve notice within your division that, hey, this is what this would have looked like. I would play Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, you could play huge spoiler because the way the NFC is stacking up right now, it may be a game here or there will separate the 1 to 4 seeds among the division leaders. And if you can take down the Eagles once, who knows, maybe twice, and not to get ahead of ourselves with all of that, but you could play massive spoiler and just completely throw a wrench into what the Eagles are hoping to do as the 1 seed in the NFC, because I'm still not sold, Lake. I'm still not sold on if the Eagles are good.
You should be. I mean, they play.
They're going to win the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be like, see, I saw that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
They play to the caliber of their competition.
Yeah.
And when they play really good teams, you see them rise to the occasion. I mean, are they a team that, is invincible? No, they're not one of these defending Super Bowl champions that you're like, oh, they're going to win it again. But they're one of these defending Super Bowl champions that you can't say they have no shot to win it.
Yeah, there's a high likelihood, and it just sounds crazy to say, and it leads me into kind of talking AFC here real quick. Mm-hmm. High likelihood where it feels like the Chiefs and Eagles are still the 2 best teams in the NFL, and I know Kansas City 5-5. They're 0-5 this year in one-score games, a far cry from their 10-0 a year ago in one-score games.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the numbers. KC's better in every statistical category this year than last year, yet they have a much worse record. Do you think Kansas City has, because right now they're on the outside looking into the playoffs. They're, I think, the 9 seed in the playoffs.
Right.
Do you think they have enough firepower this year to make some noise in the postseason and or even make the postseason because they've got an uphill battle there?
Yeah, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I'll put the Ravens in the same category. The thing that the AFC teams don't want, they don't want those 2 teams to make the playoffs, because I assure you, and I will put my professional livelihood on this statement, if either one of those teams get in the playoffs, that team's going to the Super Bowl. If both of them make it, I could easily see that being the AFC Championship game, although they're both going to start on the road.
That'd be the rare 2 wild card teams.
Absolutely.
I don't know the last time we had 2 wild cards.
I don't know if we ever have had that, but it definitely could be this year. And that's taking nothing away from the Broncos and some of these other teams that are playing really good football, New England. But are you saying to me that although Bo Nix has played well and Drake May's playing great football, leading candidate for the MVP right now, New England, are you so sure that if they have to match up in the playoffs against a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes, you feel real good about that?
I heard someone describe it as we're going through a changing of the guard, specifically in the AFC, which feels funny because you have the Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos as the top teams in the conference, and yet all of them, because they're young, changing of the guard, you would feel, even if they're at home, you would feel more confident in the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs with Allen, Jackson, and Mahomes.
No question.
Which is a spot we've really never been in because it looks like the Patriots will win the AFC East. Mm-hmm. Still a lot of season left to play, but looks like they're a legit team. So the Bills will be a wild card. The Ravens will... They'll likely win their division, but
they're still going to be a wild card.
Yeah, and they'll play in the wild card round, and then KC will be a wild card team as well. And you feel like all 3 of those might actually be favored by Vegas, despite being lower seeds throughout the play. It's just such a weird feeling in the AFC right now. It's a little uneasy,
and again uneasy because those teams at the top know you get Patrick in now. These are on 1-game basis. You don't have to worry about what happened during the season.
No, they called the second season for a reason. Yep. We don't typically see it like we do in the NBA where they're like, okay, we want the 4 line because that means we get this team in the playoffs. You don't see it as often in the NFL where teams are throwing, and I'm putting air quotes up for the radio listeners because I'm not saying the NBA teams throw games.
I'll say it for you. There's going to be some teams that are sitting up there with these great records that are like, do we really want to take Kansas City? Yeah. Do we really want Baltimore coming in here? I'm telling you, I said it. You and I both talked about it on your show here a couple weeks ago. That's the worst case scenario for these teams in the AFC is for Kansas City and Baltimore to find a way to get into. Yeah, trust me.
What a funny way to end the season it would be for the Patriots to be the 2 seed in the AFC, play host to the Chiefs, and just get taken to task in Foxborough.
And I wouldn't be so doubtful that wouldn't happen. And no offense, because the Patriots are playing great football. They really haven't played a juggernaut, They haven't. They've kind of, and the Colts, haven't either. I mean,
and Daniel Jones has kind of looked like a pumpkin here and there. Granted, one of them was an international game, so I'll give him the pass. But still, he's having a little bit of a same with Sam Darnold, having a little bit of these turnover problems.
That's what I'm saying. They played Pittsburgh. It was kind of like, okay, is this the Giants Daniel Jones or is this the Colts Daniel
Indiana Jones?
Right. So we'll see how it plays out. But the beauty of all this is that there's so much parity. And, well, let me rephrase that because I hate parity. I mean, I want you to slay the dragon every year. But the beauty of it is that if you are a fan of a respective team, you have a shot right now. There's only a handful of teams that are mathematically, they have no shot to make the playoffs. Even Washington still has, mathematically, they're not like out of it. I mean, common sense, they're out of it.
It would take a miracle like Texas A&M had over the weekend to overcome a 30-3 deficit. But
I didn't even see that. I when I'm on the plane yesterday, I'm catching up with everything.
Yeah.
You have to. So that 6-hour time difference. Oh my!
Even going West Coast back 3 hours.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to California, I'm like, or Washington or wherever, I'm like, wait, huh? It's 9 p.m. on the West Coast, and you're like, where'd all my friends on Twitter go? Like, no one's texting me. What's happening?
So the problem,
6 hours forward must be crazy.
It was. So the problem is, 9, 10 o'clock. I know over in Spain, that's when they start serving dinner. Seriously.
No,
but for us, no,
Sleep
man.
time.
I mean, I'm going to bed, and that's when everything's starting back here. So I didn't see anything U.S. based the whole time I was there, sports wise. I didn't. Let alone I'm thinking, okay, here we are. We're over here. I did the pregame on Fox. I was on for an hour.
Yeah.
And on the field, and I'm thinking, man, this is pretty cool. I know my sister texts me, and I'm like, nobody else is, like every time I do this, they're like, man, I've seen you doing great.
Everyone's
No,
asleep.
it was just my sister. And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Well, it shows my sister's loyalty to me because they got up and she
set an
recorded
alarm,
it. Yeah, but I was like, why is no one getting there? And I'm like, you know what? It's literally like 7 o'clock back home. Yeah. In the morning.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
Yeah. We're sleeping in a little bit.
Exactly.
We got our alarm set for 9:24.
You either
kickoff
sleep,
9:30.
Yeah, you were either asleep or you were in church, but either way, you weren't watching me.
Penn State, your guy James Franklin goes to Virginia Tech. You think
We
he'll
knew
be?
that.
We knew. Do you think he's going to be successful with the Hokies?
100% do. And again, I was on a thing this morning. Obviously down in the Blacksburg area, and they asked me about it, and I said, I think it's a coup. I think Virginia Tech may have just secured the best coach that would have left the program. And I can say that, although I wanted him out of Penn State because I thought he ran his course with us.
Two things can be true.
Yeah, but he's still a very good coach. I just don't know if he's a championship coach. But you know what? If he is a championship coach, this is the place where he would do it at, because they're not going to have to face Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. They don't have to worry about that gauntlet every year. No offense to the ACC, but the ACC has always been, Florida State, Miami, and every now and then another team does well. But why not now Virginia and VTech? Both those programs are going to be on the up and up. And let's face it, Miami and Florida State, I'm sorry if you're fans of those schools because they're going to people get mad at us. But let's be honest, they've lived off reputation for a while now, and the reputation is that's not the Canes that I grew up playing against. Trust me.
Yeah, James Franklin, ACC championship coach.
Yeah.
James Franklin, not a Big Ten championship coach, and
No.
I think that's a great place to be in if you are Virginia Tech. We had a guy from Tech Sideline on the show yesterday, David Cunningham, and he said, if Penn State could go back and redo that firing, he doesn't know if they would necessarily fire him in that instance. Maybe
I think they might not, because you're
seeing how it all shakes out now.
Well, what happened was, I think the firing came too early. And the reason why I say that is because it got the other big schools petrified and scared that they're going to lose their guy, and you're going to see all these musical chairs with coaches, and it never happened, never matriculated, because all these schools opened up their wallets and said, no, we're keeping you. They kept Signetti in Indiana, Elko and Texas A&M. They're like, no, we're not letting any of you guys
if
go.
this happened at the end of the season, we probably would have seen a cascading effect immediately.
And that Penn State cachet, we still have it. We still are a brand. But, I mean, we're leaving Nike, and then we're going to have Adidas next year. I mean, right. Thank you. Are you kidding me? We're Nike folks. But anyway.
Nike is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, Adidas has European money, and I've learned that because over there, Nike was. I have people ask me, where'd you get those Nikes? Those are nice, And I'm like, what?
Because Air Maxes?
Because that's not their thing.
Yeah, but unfortunately for college football players,
we're going to be running out there now, Penn State with soccer cleats.
Guys, look, Adidas is really big in Europe. Come here, you'll be huge over there in Madrid.
Yeah, but I will say this too about Franklin. Coach Franklin recruits Virginia extremely well, and he's already has some guys that are flipping now. So VTech's not going to be in a situation where they can't get recruits. They're going to be able to get great recruits. So now we're going to find out, is he really the coach that he thinks he can be, or is he just what I've always seen for the last 12, 13 years?
It's going to be so fun to see. Lake, appreciate your time as always. I'm glad you got home safely.
Yes, that's the most important.
Yes, look forward to catching up next week as well, hopefully after a Commanders win, but getting the whole lay of the NFL. Always appreciate it.
Appreciate you.